The merged back catalog of the two former companies, Squaresoft and Enix, is seemingly endless. There's almost a never-ending supply of quality titles, many of which are revered as timeless classics, and easily some of the greatest games of all time. Because of this, the demand to replay or re-experience these games, or even experience them for the first time, is always high. As a result, Square Enix has made the ambitious commitment to make their entire library available digitally. But as revealed by a recent interview with Square Enix CEO Yosuke Matsuda by Game Informer, this commitment is about more than just a bunch of ports. It's also about the development of remakes, which Matsuda seems quite keen on. And while doing remakes may seem easy or even lazy to some, because the creative work is already done, in reality nothing could be further from the truth. He also talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake structure, and how you can expect those games to be delivered. Matsuda explains that the remake presents a challenge in the fact that it's simply not good enough to put out the same title again, that a remake has to go above and beyond the original, saying, quote, "Remakes are harder and more challenging than you might think. Just by the nature of being a remake, it means there was an original, and I believe that you have to surpass the original. It's not enough to just do straight reprints of the old one, because you want new fans to be able to enjoy it. There are old fans who know the old game, and at the same time, you want new people to enjoy it. I think you need to be able to achieve both of these things, and that's why I say it's quite challenging." This philosophy of getting new fans and old has been at the heart of Square Enix's remake attempts, and this is at the forefront of Final Fantasy VII Remake's development, a game that attempts to generate millions of new fans, while also returning millions of fans who love the original classic. Matsuda also revealed that many of these remakes that are happening within the company have come about on the passionate behalf of the developers working on the titles. Such was the case with the Mana remakes, saying, quote, "I asked them what their plan was, because even if you're going to do a remake, you have to look into the contents carefully and decide what it is that you're going to do." Matsuda then talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake more specifically, bringing the classic title to a brand new generation of gamers, and how the development team decides on the best way to bring this into the modern generation. Despite some speculation that perhaps it was a higher-ups idea to simply extort more money by dividing the game into multiple parts, this simply wasn't the case. It was actually a decision of the development team, as this was the most practical way to deliver this massive amount of content. Matsuda explained this by saying, quote, "Of course the development team would have a variety of discussions about how they would go about taking such a famous game as Final Fantasy VII and remaking that for modern day. I believe this style of releasing it was something that was born of these discussions, but it is true that each individual game will be released as independent games. That's how the development team is making them. And so for that reason, I like for you to think of them as something you can play as a standalone itself, and contains a game that I think will be worth playing in that way." I still see this popping up every now and then where people think that Final Fantasy VII Remake's volumes are somehow going to be discounted or subsequent parts of the story will be DLC. Let me say this in the most explicit way of paraphrasing what Matsuda is saying. Final Fantasy VII Remake is not going to be an episodic game. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a video game series based on the PlayStation 1 classic. Each game in that series follows a major story arc from the original game, but it is such an elaborate, detailed retelling that they have become full games in their own right. So, in other words, be ready to pay another $60 for Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, or whatever they plan on calling it. So, Ultima Weapons, do you think Square Enix will be able to achieve this ambitious goal of surpassing the original Final Fantasy VII? Subscribe, click the bell icon, and let me know in the comments below. And if you've been enjoying my content, be sure to check out the Patreon for the Night Sky Prince. Incredible people like Artem Kechichian are helping me bring you so many of these great Final Fantasy videos. I am incredibly thankful to you guys, so let's keep pumping these out, and you can be a contributor to that too. Shout out to Artem and the rest of the Ultima community.